Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Theotek podcast. I am Wes Allen from painfullyhopeful.me. I am tonight's idiot in charge, apparently, because I know nothing about the topics of which we are speaking tonight, so I'll be leading the discussion. And joining me this evening are one, Antoine. What's your middle initial? RJ. Yeah, there you are, RJ, right. And he's a mobile me guy. Say hello, Antoine.
Hey guys, how's it going this evening?
And then next to him, at least on my window, is Kevin Purcell, our fearless leader.
Well, not tonight. You're the fearless leader. Or are you fearful?
Yeah, but you're the one who has to manage all the podcasts, so I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we have a new blogger and urban scholar, LaRosa Johnson.
Hey, how's it going?
And world traveler, Rick Mansfield.
Hey, good evening. How's everyone doing?
That took a little while for you to get back to the comment there. You look like you were still in jet lag. I mentioned your voice and you turned your head. It was pretty good. Anyway, welcome this evening. We just have a couple of topics to discuss. There were some big announcements dropped today, and I'm going to throw it out to the group to see which one we're going to cover first. The first one that we were kind of in show notes was that Samsung has dropped their new Galaxy Note. And the second one is Microsoft has, then we already have a vote from Antoine, Microsoft has released their Windows 10 anniversary update. And Antoine doesn't like either of these topics, so he can just sign off now. Anyway, gentlemen, I'm going to leave it up to, well, no, what? Kevin's got the Samsung up, so we'll go with Samsung.
Yeah, there
so Kevin, you're in charge.
Well, okay. Samsung every year about this year announces a new Note mobile phone, and then in the spring they always do the Galaxy S line. The current S line is the S7, and so for that reason they went from the Note 5 last year, they pulled a Microsoft and skipped a number and went from Note 5 to Note 7, so they can brand everything, the same way. And it makes sense actually because it's really just a slightly bigger S7, only with an iris scanner, iris as in your eyeball, and as you see on the screen there, the pen. So from all, people who were there at the announcement, that's kind of what they've all said, that it looks almost exactly like the S7, and as a result of that, it makes sense for them to call it the Note 7, because it's really just the S7 with a pen. And it's kind of cool. The iris scanner, what it's supposed to do is you set it up and hold the phone up in front of your face. I think they said like 12 to 16 inches from your eye, and that second camera right here, if you can see that, there's two cameras on it. One is the front-facing camera for like selfies and such. The second one is really the camera that's there to take the picture of your eyeball, and it can sense your eye and log you into your phone.
Let me just interject here real quick. A couple of questions, Kev. First up, is the iris scanner in addition to a fingerprint scanner, or is it just iris scanner for security?
In addition, which means I'll never use it. I'll only be using the fingerprint. The fingerprint on the S7 is excellent. It's as good or better than the iPhone. Well, I'd say not better, but they're both equally as fast and quick. And
yeah. And how are they touting that this is actually a secure way of logging on? Because retina scanners are notoriously finicky.
Well, I don't know that they're touting it, other than saying maybe it's easier. Is it just as secure as your fingerprint? I don't know because I haven't tried it. I sort of have my doubts because, well, like Windows, we'll talk about the Windows 10 update in a little bit. Windows has their Hello login feature where it takes a picture of your face. Yeah. And it's easy to fool it. I mean, you just put a picture of somebody. You don't even have to, if you just have someone who looks similar to you, you can log into Windows with the Windows.
Yeah, unless it's 3D
Seems
model.
like a fingerprint would be easier and more secure.
Yeah, and I've tried, the facial recognition on the Samsung. They have that, and it's not very good. And so unless this thing is just awesome and really secure, I definitely will be turning it off. I'm going to get one. I'm on T-Mobile, so I'm going to jump because I really like the Note. I think I sort of wish that I had not upgraded to the S7.
What the heck was that?
I don't know. Somebody's trying to.
Sorry, someone was trying to FaceTime.
But hey, let's be honest here. What do we really know about the eye scans, how do we know that it's not going to make our eyeballs fall out in 20 years after repeated use?
Well, that's a possibility, I suppose, but I don't.
That's right. My brain's already going to be melted because I've been talking on a cell phone for the last how many years.
Someone ask Antoine that feature, since he's calling us from the
future.
Talking to us from the future.
Antoine, will these retina scanners do damage to our eyeballs 20 years from now, since you were 3 decades ahead of the rest of us?
No, your eyes will already be damaged by the amount of non-visual things that you'll be looking at.
How am I
what that means?
Non-visual things.
Yeah,
what on earth does that mean?
I don't understand that.
And how do you look at non-visual things?
No, they won't mess your eyes up. Actually, it's a pretty neat technology that they're using. So a lot of people might be familiar with Touch ID on their Apple devices and the kind of intensity of camera that's used for that. They're actually doing a similar thing, but on the retinal level for this iris scanner. Now, if you are somebody who's recently had trouble with the law, visited Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, London, or small suburban-like cities in the United States, your eyes have probably already been scanned by something. So you have absolutely nothing to worry about from a surveillance end of things.
There you go, Rick.
Good. Good to know.
But it's good. It's decent technology, but Samsung, as per their usual, they usually introduce a hardware feature like this. And if you guys remember, they did the fingerprint scanner.
Pre-Google.
Right. And when they did it, though, they were storing the fingerprint in a non-secured area of your mobile. Now, obviously, they're not trying to make the same mistake here with the iris scanner, but you do have to wonder, because this is not an official Android feature, what kind of viability for the future does that have if Samsung decides to update to a later version of Android? Will this iris scanner not be able to move up there as fast? Will it fail? Will there be some other security risk in using this?
Well, this demonstrates one of the great points that's a strength and a weakness of Android, right? It's the fact that you can implement these things before Google gets around to doing it, but then the weakness is you can implement it before Google gets around to doing it, and you end up with storing fingerprints in the open and things like that. Anton, what do you know about the camera, though? You said it was really good. Is it super high res? How's it designed to actually work with your retina?
So our eyes are like the most cool reverse mirror thing ever in the world. So basically, the light comes into our eyes, it reflects off the back of our eyes, and then our eyes basically help flip that image around. It's really neat. Right. So what it does is it basically looks at how light is reflecting off of your eye, and every eye does it at a different point. It's really logarithmic. Everybody's eye reflects light differently.
It's fractal.
It really is fractal, but it's even to the point where you can wear contacts and it still doesn't diminish the uniqueness of how your eye reflects light. It's really neat stuff, and so cameras can do that now, and cameras on a mobile phone, when the phone is sitting 18 inches from your face, can literally tell that you are you versus you are a picture of you. It's really neat.
How much light does it need in order to function?
You need at least dawn dusk.
So you can't, if you're in a dark room, you can't just do it from using the light from your camera, from your phone.
Dark room, no. The light from your camera should work. There should be enough light there, and that obviously depends on how they've tuned it. All the reviews that I've looked at, everybody was looking at the fluorescent light lit room, so it needed some real world testing to see exactly how well that's going to be. I'm sure there will be some cautions as to don't flash a laser beam in your eye in order to get this to work kind of moments.
So, Kevin, what we want when you get yours is real-world testing. Turn all the lights off and shine LEDs directly into your retina and see if it works. And then sue Samsung for your vision damage.
See if my retina works, if I do that? You mentioned the camera. I know you were talking about the iris scanner camera, but one of the Note 7 camera is the exact same camera. The back camera that you'll take pictures with is the exact same camera on the S7 and S7 Edge. And I just put this up here because this is a picture my son took.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, this is a stunning photo. This was at Ruby Falls in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He went there with a mission trip with our church. And that's just a great picture. I mean, that's the colors and stuff in Ruby Falls, if anybody knows anything about that, are just amazing. So those are 2 pictures he took, and that's just with his phone, and I show those because I think those really highlight how great Samsung does at capturing color. They do it both with their screen technology and with their camera technology.
Kevin, one of the complaints that some people have with photography with Samsung, and even in the screen, is that they tend to oversaturate. Do you get that sense too, or
I
do you not
wouldn't call
really
it
care?
oversaturated. I would call it very rich, and just I don't think those were oversaturated photos. I think
Well, no, those are great, but those are also, you could tell they were lower light, and when you get into higher light,
they're in caverns, and so
Yeah, in the
I've
screen
taken
too.
photos with my S7 Edge, and I never would say that they're oversaturated. I think they're just very beautiful and very colorful and very bright. They're very bright and they're very rich. So I don't have that complaint about them being oversaturated.
Okay. Lurs,
I
you
think
were going to talk?
Rosso maybe had a different option or thought about it.
Oh yeah, but by default, the screen itself for Samsung phones is definitely oversaturated. That's why they have a setting in there that's buried pretty deep where you can actually go in and tone that down back to more of a regular color.
And that's kind of by design. I mean, their interface craves an oversaturated color palette, but
yeah,
it's a personal preference thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's designed to be that way, which is fine if that's what they want to do. I just know some people don't like it, and that's some people. A lot of people.
Can I just mention a couple other things that I think are worth mentioning on the
certainly may.
First is I've got the list of specs. My colleague at Gotta Be Mobile, Corey, was there at the thing, at the announcement today, and he wrote this article up. And of course, the screen size is nice. The quad core with 4 gigs of RAM, it went from 3 to 4. That's nice. We've already mentioned the storage jumping as well. Whoops.
Unresponsive page.
The battery level, they've got a much bigger battery in it, and the battery is having trouble here. The battery also has, or the phone also has, they claim it's going to have a lot more powerful processor. It's a bump in the quad-core 820. But it's USB-C for charging.
No, that's a new one.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's nice, but they also kind of gave a dig at Apple because they said, and we will give you an adapter. You won't have to buy one. Because Apple always has to.
Hey, if you're going to dig them, that's worthy of a dig, right?
And then one more thing, he doesn't have it on the list here, but they said, and one thing we will definitely have is an audio port. And that was another little dig that they clearly were going after Apple just a little bit on that. But
Apple's not announced anything with that, so that's a preemptive dig right
there. That is a preemptive dig.
Yeah, preemptive dig.
And I hope that Apple listens and says, oh, we want to be just like Samsung, because I don't want to have to do USB headphones on my...
So, I mean, I have only one real critique with the Note 7. The Note 7 is the S7 Edge. It's all but the same device, with a tick better refinement. I really would have liked to see, because Samsung really makes the Note their techie tour de force, I would like to see them take a chance, actually make the screen really wrap around the edge, not just do the little halfway foldy thing. Get rid of some of that top and bottom bezel. A little bit more than just an iris scanner and pretty much the same internals from the S7 Edge. It would have been nice to see them take a little bit more of a chance.
They've kind of stopped doing that, it seems, where now pretty much whatever hardware they put into the Galaxy S line is what they throw in the Note these days.
Yeah, Kevin had said that they seem to be going to the S7, the Edge seems to be like the normal iteration, and they're using the Note as their S iteration now, which might be.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. No, what I meant was, with the comparison is with Apple. You have the 6 and then the 6S.
Right.
Okay. And I think what Samsung's doing is they're giving us incremental updates, just like Apple does. Mm-hmm. They're the front runner in the Android's market.
Right.
No one else sells as many Android phones as Samsung, and so they don't have to innovate anymore. It's sad. I wish they would. I agree with you, Antoine. I think it's sad. They're kind of resting on their laurels, but they've got pretty big laurels that they can rest on, and they're resting comfortably right now.
They're making a lot of money.
But see, and don't get me wrong, Samsung actually makes some very beautiful hardware.
Yeah, they're not innovating. They haven't really innovated in the last couple of years.
No, but we can see from the Gear S, the Gear G2. We can see what they did with the A series devices. They really do make some beautiful hardware. Their software leaves a little bit to be desired here and there. They seem to go 80% and then really drop the ball with, I don't know, the things that require usability testing. But I'm a UX designer, I should say that kind of thing.
Well, and they're a hardware company. They're tacking on their software.
But they are a hardware company. But the Samsung that built that market share really took a few more, I won't say chances, but they really did. They took a few more design chances, and it'd be a little bit more than just the materials design and a spec bump iteration. I think smartphones still have a long way to go before the design is capped out, and Samsung, maybe even LG or Huawei, will be companies that really should go ahead and take those chances rather than just doing the flat thing that sells.
But that's Kevin's point, is that they did take all those chances. They got to the point where they're making gobs of money, and they, for whatever reason, they don't feel the need to push those boundaries anymore. Those mantles are now being passed.
Yeah.
And Antoine, we can say that they should, because I think everybody agrees that they should be doing it. But trying to tell someone who's captured a significant portion of the market share and is making a huge amount of money and can release anything and sell millions of units, trying to tell them, but really you need to be taking chances, they're going to look at them and be like, if we did that, our stockholders would destroy us. And that's what they're going to come back with. And I agree, they should be doing it, but there's a reason why they can't. And that's the wonderful hint of capitalism at work.
It is. But the Samsung a couple years ago, when they came out with the Edge, and this was one of the last times I talked about Samsung publicly, and I know because stuff I wrote kept appearing in their products, and I don't have any of Samsung's money. But Samsung, I wrote very vehemently. I said, I really like the idea of the Edge, but why would you come out with an Edge model and a non-Edge model, price them exactly the same, and then say that you're innovative? Come out with the Edge model, let that be your halo. You're going to do your main bread and butter right under that. Come right under that. Don't just innovate for the sake of innovation and, oh yeah, we made a mistake, or we let our product managers really run the show instead of actually having cohesive vision. And
that was actually interesting. Kevin, didn't you have that first Edge? And you actually said, if you have a choice, get the regular one.
The first time I said yes, get the regular one, because the Edge didn't add any useful benefit. Now with the Edge,
but it was pretty.
It was pretty.
On the S7 Edge, the S7 screen was bigger, and that's why I went with it, because I wanted the larger screen. So now going with the Note, it's just 0.2 inches bigger than the S7 Edge. So what they have is they have the S7, which I think is a 5.3 or 5.2, or maybe if it's just 5.0.
Okay.
Then they have the 5.5 S7, and then they have the 5.5 S7 Edge. And then now they're going to have the 5.7-inch Note. And so the reason I went with the S7 is for that reason. But before that, it was just a joke. And I don't use any of the Edge features. The little strip that has running ticking. I don't use any of that. It looks pretty. It feels kind of cool in the hand. And they made the bigger screen with the Edge on it, so that's why I got it. If they didn't, if they didn't put the Edge on it, I would have gotten whichever one had the bigger screen. If they had made the S7 with the bigger screen and the S7 Edge with the smaller screen, I would have gotten the S7.
Now, the last thing I would say about the S7 is I do like how they have finally refined the pen that comes with the Note. I still think it's too light weight-wise, But getting that nib size down to a regular ballpoint pen size, that's brutally important. And combining all those note apps, all those pen apps into one cohesive interface, that's when they do software well. It only took a few iterations. I think that aspect, being able to use the note as a notepad, that speaks well, to this line.
How many people, just a quick poll, how many people when the first Note came out and you saw Samsung releasing the first phablet with a pen thought, what are these lunatics thinking?
No.
I was in that one.
I went, yay, cool idea.
Oh, man.
Palm Life Drive.
Because I was so happy to get away from a stylus, so you guys were all into it. I
like pens, although I didn't get one. I like pens.
I couldn't, and then I used one and I went, wow, they really nailed it. So I mean, you're right. They definitely, Antoine. This is where they do their software and hardware blending really well. Did they add any new features besides the fact that it's a ballpoint pen size with the pen this time?
It's waterproof.
So
the
whole
pen?
Yeah, the pen.
No, there's nothing new other than the size and it might have a slight shape difference. I hope they fixed that silo problem that they had last year, where you could break your silo if you put it in wrong.
The pen is waterproof now, actually. So they waterproof the pen. So
what if you drop the pen, it doesn't just get destroyed?
So actually, like the way it works now, it's like you can use the pen and write on the screen underwater. Because both of them are waterproof now.
Divers are going to love that. What's it rated for?
Because I often need to write a note underwater.
Well, what's it rated for depth?
I don't remember right offhand.
I don't think it's like
10
scuba
feet?
diving, but I think it's like swimming.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're doing water testing or something, it'd be interesting.
for water. So that's
I think
30 minutes.
The bigger benefit to that is just protection. You're there working, and your neighbor is goofing around and spills his drink on your phone while you're working. Or
you're in a coffee shop and someone comes by with 14 billion bags and knocks something over.
You're writing and you're writing and I'm just gonna say it. You're actually writing on the toilet because I sometimes do toilet surfing.
And tonight on Theotek, Confessions of Tech.
And you just drop it. Whoops.
Remind me never to borrow your phone.
For you, Kevin. I just got to tell you. So
I have retrieved important items out of a toilet. Anyway.
Kevin, you're very, very relaxed when you're not running the show. I must say that.
That's right.
As long as you're not doing Theotek from the same position, that would be just fine.
I've never podcasted from the stall. But,
look at Antoine's face.
We used to have a guy on Gotta Be Mobile that wrote articles about toilet surfing. He would go and we had an article a long time ago, I think it was, about 10 tips for toilet surfing.
I thought toilet surfing is one of the habits that everybody does but no one talks about. We agreed never to talk about this.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's like a code and you're breaking it.
It really is.
The
Kevin
theology of technology does not happen on the toilet. I'm sorry.
Hey, before we jump over to Windows, for
Bible study, don't tell Luther that.
Let me say one thing for Bible study. I loved when I had my note. I loved taking sermon notes when I was the hearer on my note pen and my note S5.
Is the especially with the finer point, I guess it is now. But is the tablet big enough really to feel like you're writing without being cramped?
Yeah, it does a pretty good job. Now, it's not. This is better.
Right.
But I don't want to always carry this everywhere I go. I've got my phone with me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's big enough.
I found that it worked really well if you had it in landscape mode because then you had more room to write.
And what you can do in a pinch if you want to is
landscape
you can have
mode?
your Bible app on half.
Right.
And the note app on the other half.
But you thought it was easier to write in landscape mode?
It was harder to hold, but it gave you more room to write.
The harder to hold point is
field note. It's built like a field notes. That's what these little guys, these field notes.
It's about the same size.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it is. This is designed to be written in hand, a little quick on your palm, boom, boom. shebang shaboom. You guys writing these in landscape? You guys are techies.
I don't like landscape. I think they're crazy.
Yeah, I didn't do it in landscape very often, but on occasion, what I would do is put, because you can do the dual screen on the note
So
on
you can
any
write on one
Android
side and
now.
do on the other side.
And I would have Olive Tree open on one side and the Note app open on the other side, and I would, write a few quick notes in it.
But one thing I love about digital ink is that I'm left-handed, and digital ink actually makes my handwriting look semi-legible.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. Anyway, that's the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, which is now basically a very large S7 Edge. Is that basically it?
That's a good summary, yeah.
Yep.
With a pen and an iris scanner that may or may not do damage to your eyes in 20 years. We'll have to ask Antoine. Anyway, that's it. Now we're on. Anybody else have any comments or questions on that one? Yes, no? All right, so let's talk Microsoft Windows 10 Anniversary Update Edition. Rick, how did your upgrade process go today?
Yeah, not so good.
Tell us about that, sir.
Well, yeah, I mean, on one hand, to partly give Microsoft the benefit of the doubt, although I'm not going to give them too much, they've got 350 million people to roll out to, and they've already said they're not going to do it to everyone all at once. And so, when I go into into system updates in Windows 10, in fact, I'm on my Windows 10 Acer laptop right now. When I go into Windows updates on that, I don't get any update for it. But there is a website that you can go to, and you can download the installer. Mm-hmm. When I go to that and I download the installer and I run it, everything checks out except I get an error message saying that my display is not compatible with Windows 10. Now, I'm on Windows 10, and it seems to be compatible. So I don't know. It's something weird. And so I went in and I tried to make sure that I had all drivers updated, because when it says your display is not compatible, does that mean does that mean the driver's not, or the actual physical hardware is not? It's doubtful that the physical hardware is not. And so it's just an Intel driver. And so I updated the Intel driver, but it's still not working. So I've got to wait until it will hopefully roll out naturally. Because, I wasn't on the Insider builds. I used to be on them, and then a few months ago I decided to get off of them because I do need to do work on this machine now and then. Right. So,
it could be, Rick. It could be just the adapter build, not the graphics card driver, but the actual adapter driver.
Yeah.
For the screen.
And to be fair to Microsoft, I don't want to be the official apologist, but I will say, to be fair to Microsoft, it's entirely possible that the problem is that Acer has not properly sent their version of the Intel graphics driver to Microsoft in time.
Absolutely.
That could be, but the
I'm not saying that's it. In fact, I to be honest with you, I have doubts that that's it. But
well,
that's
the control panel module for that, it just says 100%. It's the Intel, it's the little Intel display app. It doesn't say anything about Acer on it.
So I'm doubtful. It's basically a vanilla.
But it's still, if it's an Acer, it's coming through Acer, even though it has Intel.
I haven't had enough time to go onto the Acer forums and see if anyone else is experiencing it, so I don't know.
I'll say this: I tried to update my wife's little HP Stream laptop today, and just downloading the update was a miserable experience today. Just because I think everybody's hammering Microsoft servers. Yeah. And again, to be fair to Microsoft, I often have that same experience downloading iOS and OS 10 updates.
When the first hours,
I don't ever have the kind of experience I've had today with saying my display doesn't work.
Well, but you're dealing with the Windows ecosystem, which is there's 14 billion configurations of the operating system.
Yeah, I'm on a Surface tablet.
Such a minor problem.
But it's rather interesting because my son's Surface did not get the update today, and he's running Microsoft hardware, and it didn't show up at all.
Well, that is unusual because mine, I think that they are usually going there first, so there might be some other issue that kept that from happening. On my Surface Pro 4, no problems whatsoever. Got it downloaded, updated.
Cool.
It actually updated on mine a couple days ago because I'm on the Insider Preview, and they sent Insider Preview people the update last, I don't know, Thursday, whatever day it was that I told you all.
Do we know if anyone's gotten the update?
Well, Kevin
today?
did. So, today I don't know.
No, he didn't. No, he got it 2 days ago. He said.
Yeah, he got it 2 days ago.
On my Surface, I got it a couple days ago. I finally got it on the. I mean, the HP says it's available.
You just haven't downloaded it yet.
But the problem is with that computer because it has such a small hard drive.
Right.
So I was trying to download it, the ISO, separately, and so it wasn't a Microsoft problem. It was an HP problem. I know for sure that's the fact. But it was available to update.
Windows ecosystem issues aside, what are the cool features that are included in this update?
Well, again, talking about the note earlier, if you're an inking specialist, like someone who likes to do the ink stuff, you're seeing my screen. And so let me show you the new Windows Ink interface. Windows Ink is an engine first that affects a lot of Microsoft Windows and Microsoft Office. It makes it much more ink friendly. So, for example, you can do some inking on Word documents, on PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that. But in order to kind of give people a little whiz-bang thing to show off, they created this Windows Ink workspace.
And that has like your major inkable programs.
Well, it's got this thing called a sticky notes.
Okay.
And so, you got sticky notes. If that's a valuable thing to you, I think it's limited value. What I do like is this sketch pad, and I could see that. I could see myself using this thing a lot in presentation. When I'm talking to my congregation during our Wednesday night service. And
is there a way to save your sketch pads into OneDrive or something?
I'm not sure where they save. Let's try.
Let's see.
Save as? No, it just saves it as a ping.
It just saves as a ping. Is it right? Well, give me options. Go back to your save. And let's see what other options you have.
Save as.
Only ping file. Okay, so it's not like a full-featured drawing app. It's not saving the strokes as vectors or anything like that.
No, I don't think so. I think it's making
It'll convert it to a bitmap. That's cool.
Yeah.
What other apps were on there, and can you add apps to it?
You can't add apps to this, but I'll show you. It also has a screen sketch.
So you can sketch on the screen.
For example, it'll take a picture of my background, and now I can, draw. There's a girl running, and look, she's going to run right through there. Nope, because she'd have to swim through there. Okay, so there you got that, and.
Kevin describes images. Next on to Theotek. Anyway, keep going.
So that's all kind of cool. And then down here, it gives you your recently used programs.
Just in general, not specifically sketchable.
Well, here's the thing. I've opened other programs
and
other
it doesn't
than
show
what's
up?
here. Well, maybe I haven't opened anything since then. So, let's try it. Let me open up.
Open up Accordance. Accordance.
Microsoft Word, and then I will close it, and then I'll open Accordance. Maybe. Taking a little while there. Okay. And then
Kevin, how many Bible apps do you have currently on your start menu?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there.
You're a Bible addict.
Okay. And so now, you see? Yeah.
Yeah, it did change.
There are worse things to be addicted to.
I was about to
now
say
it gives you suggested apps, so it would open this up in the App Store.
And you can get more pen apps, so I wonder if you install one, if it would put something up.
No, it won't add it to that.
It will
section.
never add it to the
Correct.
pen area.
You'll never get anything other than these three recently used, this suggested thing, and then a little help thing down here.
It's a shame. Like, why isn't OneNote in there?
I think because most people who are going to use this are going to use it with a Surface, and there's already a shortcut to OneNote using the Surface Pen. So I think that's probably why, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think honestly, I think this was, hey, Windows Ink is awesome, but let's find something to show off Windows Ink, and so they created this little add-on.
Right, but that's why I'm saying, why on earth did they not have OneNote in there, since that's like the ink application to be drawing on? That's a question. Yeah, I'd have to ask Microsoft that. What other features you got in this thing?
So that's the Windows Ink thing, and by the way, it just opened, and I'd opened it with my Surface Pen and not mouse.
Very nice.
And then we've got Cortana, which Cortana's been around for a while, but if you use Cortana...
Since Halo 1.
Yeah. And that's where it came from, by the way.
It really did.
If you use Cortana, then the Cortana updates are pretty slick. I never use it, and so here it is recognizing my voice. All right, so it's going to search that. So it just opened on my other screen. It opened Microsoft Edge, and it went searching for that.
Have Cortana tell you a joke.
Hey, Cortana, tell me a joke.
Go for the jugular. That's terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, but Cortana is this whole thing here, and so you get more than just that. You get your notebook, with, some stuff in it. But the thing that's cool about Cortana this time around, they've added. It does a lot more deeper integration into Windows. I'm not a Cortana user at all. The only thing I use Cortana for is I pop that open and.
Hey,
sometimes
Kevin,
I'll launch programs using it. And that's just about it.
That really interests me that you're not a Cortana user because you love Alexa with Amazon, right?
When I'm sitting at my computer, I just don't want to talk to it. I want to type on it.
So you don't have any interest in Siri coming to the Mac either?
No, don't really care about Siri on a Mac.
Okay.
Don't use Siri on an iPhone either. Don't use Hey Google on my Android phone. Just don't talk to my stuff.
I use Siri all the time on my iPhone.
Kevin, Kevin, that's the sign of a Luddite, that's not getting with.
No, it's a sign of I'm.
He's got a workflow he likes. He's sticking with it.
I'm often using my devices in public, and I don't want to have the people in the booth over next door to me say, "What's he doing?"
There's a movie called
Antoine's being provocateur today.
There's a movie called Her that shows us all how to use audio interfaces in public.
What's going on?
We are going to hang out with Joaquin Phoenix? What are we doing?
Edge is really cool. I mean, I'm just going to get us back on track here to get through this because, some of this is kind of boring. Edge is really cool. Edge, has some really nice inking features as well, so I can take a note with this. But what I really like about Edge now is they have extensions.
Yes. So does 1Password work with it yet? Do you know?
No, there's no 1Password. There is LastPass. I'm not going to open LastPass because I don't want you to see stuff in my LastPass. But it's
you already told us you surf on the toilet. You might as well.
No, I'm not going to do that. But anyway, if you want to go and check out extensions, get more. And so here's a bunch of the extensions that it has. It opens up in the App Store and lets you find stuff. You can enhance Reddit, save to Pocket. If you use the online Office 365 apps of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you can work them offline now as a result of this extension. If you're an Amazon shopper, you can use that. It's got Evernote Web Clipper, OneNote Clipper. It's also got a Save to Pocket Clipper. It's got these mouse gestures, Page Analyzer for developers. The only thing I use regularly is LastPass Free Password Manager. And I don't use it free. I pay for it. It's a $12 a month or a year subscription. So, and when that came, I started actually using Edge. And what I have found is Edge does not bog down my system like Chrome does.
It's really svelte.
Yeah,
and the Edge is really nice.
There still are, every once in a while you go to a website and it upchucks on it and says, "You're not using an up-to-date web browser. Why don't you open Internet Explorer?" And that's like, what an absolute joke.
My brain hurts. It's 2016.
Like that.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So, my favorite, I will occasionally, I haven't done it for maybe a year or so, but I will occasionally surf to a page that says, you should be using Internet Explorer 6 or higher.
I never hit those pages, Kevin.
I literally just want to find the web developer and be like, what on earth are you doing? It's usually in some really bizarre blog. No, it's not. No. So.
Also, the Xbox app is going to let you work more closely with your Xbox if you have an Xbox One.
Cool.
It's got some cool stuff there. I'm not a gamer. Our Xbox One is something my son basically uses, and I ignore most of the time. I say Xbox turn on so that I can watch TV because we have our our DirecTV dish plugged into it.
That's cool.
And that's it. But anyway, so there's a bunch of stuff here. I don't honestly. You'll have to just go search for that. I don't have a clue what's new in that because I don't use it.
Anything else really, really big?
Yes, the Bash
ahead,
shell.
The what?
Oh yeah.
The Rosa, go geeky on us.
Yes, for all of us who have used the Mac or Linux terminal, we can finally do some of those same commands on Windows.
It has been born again.
Yeah, where do you find that? I never use it. Is it under? Let's see.
I don't know because I don't have a Windows machine to actually use it.
I'm guessing it's under.
And I would try, but I don't have the new version on
it. Kevin, you should be able to do Run and Bash under the Run menu.
It's called PowerShell, isn't it? Windows PowerShell.
They could be calling it. And by the way, for our listeners, to clarify, the reason why I said it's been born again is because Bash is literally meaning the born again shell, and born is spelled like Jason Bourne, not B-O-R-N. But yes, you may finally. Pun. It's a very good pun.
Is this it? The Windows PowerShell? Is that Bash?
No.
No.
That was already PowerShell was already there.
Type in Bash.
Well, I did, and it just wanted to search the web for it.
I wonder if it is not installed by default.
It might not be, or it could be installed, but you might have to enable another mode.
Under System, maybe?
Can now replace people with very small shell scripts. It's great. Anyway.
Windows can't find it.
Yeah, it must not be there.
I've never tried it. Never even thought about trying it. I've heard of it, and that's why.
Anyway, for our folks back home who maybe not be familiar with it, a Bash for most people would look like going to DOS, but it's really Unix, and it's on steroids, the good kind, and you can do all sorts of amazing things for automation and just file control and things like that. They're so much easier in a Bash shell than they have ever been on the Windows terminal. So for folks who are nerdy like that, like La Rosa, it's really a big deal, right, La Rosa?
Hey, it's how I manage my website.
We're just going to leave that there, and we'll let people make their own decisions about how nerdy people are on this podcast. Anyway, so anybody have anything else they want to add on the Windows 10 anniversary update?
I can't wait to try it as soon as Microsoft will let
me. Poor Microsoft. I mean, they come out with a really good operating system, and we still make fun of them. It's so great. Nothing else we want to add? Because we get ready to go right to favorite things. Yes? All right. Then let us favorite thing time. Who would like to go first? Favorite things.
Hey, I've got one.
All right, Rick, go right ahead.
These, let me see if I can put this up to the camera. These are my Bellboy wireless, or Bluetooth, I should say, headphones. And so they're shaped just like the current iPhone headphones from Apple, but yeah, earpods. But they're entirely Bluetooth, and I saw an ad for these. I don't remember where I saw the ad. It might have been in the corner of Facebook or something like that. But I saw these while I was in Asia, and so I ordered them, and they were already here when I arrived. Although I do think they came from China or Japan or somewhere. Anyway, they work pretty well. Although I had to figure it out. It was because the instructions had print that was too small for me to see even with my glasses. And on their website, which is bellboy.me, I can't find a manual for the life of me. But I did manage to figure it out and to pair them, and they work pretty well. I haven't tested out how long they'll last. They've lasted me, using it multiple times during the day. So with the possibility of the new the new iPhone not having an audio port, this might be a good test of things to come. Although I'm sure that they'll still include some earpods with a Lightning jack on them, I think, for the new iPhone. But
Do you put the
this is probably more the future.
Rick, do you put the wire behind your neck or in front of it?
Yeah, that's the way I usually do it. It's right now I've got these regular ones.
But I'm just trying to see, like,
connected to my
you
Yeti,
can still find the controls there even when you have it behind your neck like that.
Yeah, you still put the controls on the right side, and you can answer the phone, or you can turn the volume up and down and that kind of thing. I wear them behind because, frankly, just to me, it's a little funny looking in front to me, but maybe it wouldn't be. I don't know.
You don't feel like it's going to fall out of your. You don't feel like it's going to fall out of your ear because it looks a little weird, like for exercise.
No, I mean it's the same shape as the regular ones from Apple.
The weight of the control compared to.
Oh no, it's not heavy. I mean it's bigger because there's a battery in there, but it's really not heavy.
Okay.
It's not a big deal.
And how much?
My earlobes haven't started hurting or anything.
How much did they go for?
I don't remember. Let me look real quick. I had the one.
You have a favorite thing you don't even know how much it went for? Come on.
I forgot. I forgot because I ordered it a few weeks ago. Let's see here. They're $29.
Okay, there you go. Now you're still allowed on the show.
$29 at bellboy.me.
Bellboy.me. That's a really interesting name.
Yeah.
Very good. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think so.
Sure.
Go ahead, Mr. LaRosa.
We'll let Antoine go first.
You're going to let Antoine go first?
Yeah.
Antoine, go first.
That's mainly because he wanted to see my toy. So let me hold up the old one that I talked about. So you guys remember I talked about this tablet by these guys.
I got to play with that tablet.
Yeah, it's still kind of cool. When the software works. Community development is awesome. And I mean that sarcastically and seriously. Because of my participation with the tablet and Sailfish operating systems open source community, I was gifted from the good folks at Yola this.
Dum dum dum.
So a couple years ago, Yola, the company, started out with idea of making an operating system for a phone, and obviously they had to make their own phone to hawk their wares, and they built one that was similar design to this. This is actually the second version of that phone that recently came out in India under a licensee. I can't remember the licensee, but the name of it is Aquafish. Is the name of it. But this is the Yola C. It's a very limited edition phone. Extremely limited edition. Where's that? You might be able to see it there. Really, really small. Limited edition. They only made about 300 of these. And this was my gift from them for participating in the community and not telling them that the software totally sucked when it totally sucked, or telling them that it sucked when they wanted to hear that it sucked, and helping to design some pretty neat stuff.
So the purpose of this favorite thing is to show off something that you get that none of us can have.
Yeah.
Antoine is special. He's from the future.
If you would like to import it, you can currently purchase the Aquafish, which is similarly designed to this, for roughly, I think it's 90,000 RMBs, which equates to about $300 or so.
All right, Mr. Antoine, knock us down with some of the cool features.
You could get one, but you'd have trouble importing it because it has not yet passed FCC.
Tell us about features. Why would I want this phone?
Don't
tell me I don't want the phone.
If you had one, why would you want it? First things first, it does not run iOS or Android. It runs Sailfish. So you're definitely dealing with a different interface paradigm. It's actually all gesture and swipe based. So you got your swipes left and right, all that good fun stuff. The other thing is, if you do decide that, hey, listen, there's some really cool Android apps that I do want, it actually can run Android apps. Any that do not require Google mobile services, it can run those right out of the box when you do the Android compatibility layer on top of it. It runs those Android applications securely. So even if those applications say, hey, we need your contacts, calendar, and your lifeblood, those applications do not touch anything on that device except for that compatibility layer.
So Antoine, is Sailfish Linux-based like Android is basically Linux-based?
It is way more Linux-based than Android is. So Android is Linux-based with a Java layer on top. This is purely Linux-based with no Java. at all. So everything is written in C, C++. It runs on, actually, if you would like to put it on your old Android phone, the operating system is available for devices as late as a Nexus 5. There's actually a porting effort for a few Huawei and Xiaomi phones. So if you picked up some of the newer phones, you could actually run Sailfish there. The other really good pieces about this, or at least from a usability end on my end, it's not the same. The one-handed navigation, it really acts like a phone. It takes you back to the days where phones were phones and computers were more than a phone. It is still fairly smart. As you can see here, I've got my nice social stream here, so all of my tweets and social media stuff actually all happens on the context of one screen, which is pretty neat. And then it is entirely open source. So the operating system is open source, most of the hardware is open source, and this fancy fadango back piece, it looks just like a regular back cover, but that little black that covers that actually covers an NFC toggle. So it does actually what's called a back that basically changes the themes. The ambiance is what they call it. There's also 2 SIM slots in here. So I've got 2 SIM slots and a memory card slot. Oh, nice. So if I do decide to go and play in India or someplace that does the dual SIM items, I can go and have some fun without worrying about 2 things. And I can actually use both of those SIM slots at the same time, except when I'm on a phone call. It does actually shut down the data of one SIM card that you're using when you're on a phone call with the other. And that's operating system limitation.
What's the max memory card you can use?
256.
You can go up to 256 gigs? Really? Nice.
Yeah, so you can toss a whole lot in here. It actually reads FAT32, and ETFS memory cards. So you can pretty much load anything you want to on here. One of my favorite applications is called Situations. That's on here. It gives you your contextual interface. Whenever your phone starts up, based on conditions, time of day, environment, Wi-Fi connectivity, you can launch and run applications fairly simply and easily. I definitely enjoy that. Cool. Battery life, I've yet to actually fully test that. It's not yet gotten the daily driver routine. I've actually purchased a second SIM card to go ahead and use with this so that I can actually get a full-on use with it. It is big, though. So to give you guys a size, here's a 5S.
Yeah.
Here's the YOLO.
It's thick too, isn't it?
It's big. It's thick. The thickness is not so much the problem. So, oops, I should move that this way. The thickness isn't so much the problem. It's the edges. These edges are murder weapons.
They do look a little.
They're definitely sharp edges. Which is good. If you want to go into Finland's phone throwing championships, in Finland's where Yola is, you would definitely, have a very aerodynamic way to win, or to be able to skip rocks, skip phones. You should be able to do that fairly easily.
You buried the lead there. Finland has phone throwing championships, or are you just making that up?
Yeah. Yeah, they started it back in the day with the old Nokia 3300s because they were pretty indestructible.
All right, someone needs to YouTube that right away. Anyway, any other questions for Mr. Antoine on his YOLO phone? No. Mr. LaRosa, you have a favorite thing. Go, please.
Yeah, mine's really simple. It's just an iPhone case that I got last week. So here it is right here. It's from baseballism.com. And what I like about it is this is actual baseball leather with real.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And real stitches.
Real threads.
Yep, real threads.
Real seam there.
Yep.
Does it smell like a baseball?
Cool.
It does.
No.
Now what you need to do is you need to put it out in the yard and get a little grass stain on it. Then it'd be perfect.
I should do that.
And enter it into Finland's phone throwing competition. Now that it looks like baseball.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I wanted to ask him to throw like a baseball.
Yeah.
Can you get a good split-fingered fastball with that, Peppy?
Do a four-finger, knuckleball it.
The fork ball.
LaRosa, can you get these branded with team names and stuff too, or is it just basically that?
It's just this.
I'm if MLB does not get a license for that yesterday, they're crazy, because that's amazing. And do they come for other phones besides Apple?
Yeah, they do it for some of the Samsung phones as well, like the Note and the Galaxy phones.
Awesome. Hold it up again. Very nice. We want a grass stain on that by next week, though.
We shall see.
No, there's no seeing. There's just do or do not.
In other words, don't hold your breath.
Oh, man. Anyway.
Hey, about that bash shell, I just wanted to answer a question you guys had earlier about it.
Right ahead, Kev.
You have to install it. It does not come built in. And what you have to do is, let me share my screen. I've got an article that I found about it from logicsupply.com. Never heard of them, but they've got a nice article. You have to go into your settings, the account section. Let's see here. If you go into all settings, and not account, update and security for developers, put it in developer mode there. Okay, and then you open up your control panel and view installed. Nope, turn on features. That's what I'm looking for. Wait for it, then roll down here to Windows PowerShell 2.0 right there. Hit OK, and I already did it once, and so it asked me, do you want to update? And I said no, because I don't want to. I do want to restart. You have to restart in order to enable it. But that's how you get the PowerShell.
And you know what that entire process tells me, Kevin?
What's that?
Is that Microsoft wants to keep that as far away from regular users as absolutely
They don't want
possible.
guys like me using that, because I'll wreck my computer with it.
Change chmod 777 everything. That just makes it so much easier to use.
So, I'll be dangerous. I'm sure that this Surface Pro will blow up, and you'll be reading the stories of my demise next week.
That will be sad. Also, you're the one who hosts the podcast, so that would also be the end of us. Anyway, Kevin, do you have a favorite thing?
I do not. I'm going to let it go for time. I didn't think about it, and we did VBS this week, and so I was lucky to get home in time to get this thing going.
So VBS was your favorite thing?
Yeah, we did Vacation Bible School. We did Scar Force, which is a Star Wars themed VBS that came out last summer, and it's been lots of fun. I begged all spring long and all summer long about how I wanted a real lightsaber, and they gave me a foam lightsaber on Sunday night. So that wasn't cool. They told me, yes, you'll get a real one, and then they handed me this foam thing, and boy, I was so disheartened, because I thought I was getting a real lightsaber.
Did you chop somebody's arm off?
Not unless they have a paper arm with a foam lightsaber.
I mean, to disappoint you, but there are no such things as a real lightsaber.
What?
Rick, shh. We never talk about that. Stop. Be quiet. Hush. Kevin, he didn't say anything.
But that kid on the YouTube video.
He didn't say anything.
Fun.
He didn't say anything. You didn't hear that, Rick. We had this discussion last week. We said we would never tell him that. That's not good.
Next thing you're going to tell me the Force isn't real either.
Anyway, let's go favorite things
Crickets.
again. So, crickets. I actually have my "That's Not How the Force Works" shirt on today. So, anyway, I have a favorite thing. I have mentioned it on the podcast, and people have probably seen me if they were paying attention. But I do have this, and it is a favorite. It has become a favorite thing. Which is
that still your loaner, or is it yours?
No, this is mine. In fact,
did you buy one?
I bought one.
Wow.
I got it for a week. In fact, I'm feeling terrible right now because I'm nowhere near any of my fitness goals for today because I was basically in the car driving people around. But after using it for a week, I was just like, Antoine's happy. I was like, I looked at my wife and said, I need to get one. But here's the funny thing, is the guy who lent me this, or lent me the one that I had borrowed, he's now lending it to my wife, and my wife has it on. She's up at Cape Cod with her family, and she's like sketching me constantly.
So what you need to do is buy the wife one. Okay.
Well, she's going to get one. She actually just bought a new MacBook Pro, and she got Beats headphones with it that she probably will never open, and is going to sell them on eBay and buy herself a watch.
No, so what you need to do is you need to buy her a very special band. There are very many places online where you can get a My Wife is Queen band. printed right on the band.
Anton, my wife is from like Dutch country, Pennsylvania. They're like the most practical people on the planet, and she would look at that and smack me upside the head.
She can smack you, but you still would only pay about $30 for it, so you'll be just fine.
No, if I would have told her I spent $30 for it, not only would she smack me up the head, she'd throw me out the second-story window. Actually, that's, you know what?
I need a third-party band
I've
like
seen
mine
that
here.
one, Rick. How comfortable is that? Because it's
very
like
comfortable.
It's the same clasp as the Milanese loop, right? But it's leather.
Yeah, and I have a blue Milanese loop that I got from Apple that was like $150 or something.
Right.
But this was like less than $30 from Amazon.
Yeah.
And I would say it has 90 to 95% of the quality of the Apple.
By the way, my wife is texting me.
Was yours leather? Mine came. I got one. It was brown. It was plastic. Really not good.
I think this is leather.
Because I love the look of that.
The magnet works.
Yeah, I love the look of that, and I have a knockoff Milanese loop on right now. That was only like $20, and I like it, but I still is a little weird typing with it. But I got to tell you, I never saw myself liking a smartwatch. I mean, you know me. I have many recorded sessions. I'm not a watch guy, and of course, putting the watch on your correct wrist really helps becoming a watch guy.
The watch I'm waiting for is coming out tomorrow.
What's that?
Some new device that Polar is going to unveil.
Yeah, it's
who?
Polaris. Is it like a GPS watch?
Polaris?
Yeah, it's another fitness watch.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who uses a bunch of the Garmin's, and he really likes it for running. But I love it, and it's become a favorite thing, and I eat every word that I ever said making fun of the Apple Watch. Ever. So I can be wrong, which is pretty much every day. Anyway, those are favorite things. Any other comments before we sign off for the day? It is 10:07. We're just about at the hour. Wow, this has been a lot of fun. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching Theotek. Kevin, why don't you tell the people where they can watch this or listen to it in the future if they so desire?
They can watch this on their Apple Watch if they download.
They can watch it on their Apple Watch?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. That doesn't work, does it?
That's really
No, they
small.
can listen to it on their iPhone through the iTunes store. They can listen to it on any phone, thanks to the fact that we are on Stitcher Radio, which feeds almost every podcast app alive. And they can watch it they can listen on those. They can watch it on YouTube, or just go to theotek.com and you'll find links to everything that you will ever need to be a Theotek fanatic. And for both of you who are Theotek fanatics, our 2 viewers out there, we thank you for being faithful to us, and we really appreciate you. Of course, one of them is Antoine, so he watches it while he also does it. But anyway, we really appreciate those of you who are fans. All joking aside, all kidding aside, we do have some people that watch, and we do appreciate you watching it. Most of you watch it after the fact, and we really appreciate it. Please leave comments, ask us questions, and we will respond. If you want to send us email, you can do it. Probably the easiest way is to hit us up on Twitter at Theotek Podcast, or if you want to email me, send it to kevin@theotek.com, and I will distribute it far and wide if you have a question for one of the other gentlemen. But
Antoine's being annoyingly meta at present.
Yeah, he's watching while
on it. Anyway, well, folks, thank you very much. We hope that you tune in again very soon. We will have some really good discussion coming up on some very interesting topics having to do with, we're going to be dealing with church subscriptions maybe in the future. And we had a couple other cool things in our wonderful Slack chat. If you have some ideas that you would like us to cover, please do what Kevin said and send us a note or a line, and we would be happy to chat about them at some point in the future. But for tonight, that's all that we got. I'm Wes Allen. That's Rick. That's LaRosa. That's Kevin. That's Antoine, who is still being very meta. And we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Have a good evening.